weeks ago, we tested the EcoBoost Mustang and we were left a little disappointed, not because of the lack of a V8, but because of the lackluster 10-speed automatic transmission. Today, we have a different Mustang. This one has a V8, has a manual, and it's also a convertible. Let's check it out. If you want a convertible in the Mustang lineup, you can either get it with the EcoBoost engine or with the GT Premium trim. The GT Premium convertible has a starting price of about 66,000 Canadian dollars, but this one, as tested, is about 85,000 Canadian dollars before taxes because it has a whole bunch of options and packages. One of them being this interesting color scheme. White body color with blue accents, blue badge, blue stripes, and blue rims. This is actually a combination of the California Special Package as well as the GT Performance Package. Now, personally, I'm not the biggest fan of these blue rims, but Ford is currently offering a package that I am a huge fan of, and that's the 60th anniversary package for the Mustang. You can get it with off-white body color with beautiful rims. I think you should check it out if you want to get one of these convertibles. Under the hood is Ford's tried and true naturally aspirated 5-liter Coyote V8. And for the S650 generation, it's got some upgrades to it, including a twin throttle body setup. If you go for the optional active exhaust, you also get a little bit more horsepower and a little bit more torque, 486 horsepower and 418 pound-feet of torque. Power goes to the rear wheels only through a 6-speed manual transmission, or alternatively, you have the option of a 10-speed automatic transmission with paddle shifters. Limited slip differential comes standard on all Mustangs, but this being equipped with the Performance Pack, it gets an upgraded Torsen one. Over to the side, you get a set of 19-inch rims fitted with Pirelli P0 tires, 245 in the front and 275 wide in the back. You also get the 6-piston Brembo brakes in the front and 4-piston Brembo brakes in the rear, courtesy to the Performance Pack. This tester is also equipped with the Mag-and-Ride adaptive dampers, so for suspension, it's McPherson strut in the front and multi-link setup in the rear, plus those adaptive dampers. As for the roof, it only takes about 10 seconds to open or close, but you have to pretty much do it while completely stationary, and you also have to manually latch and unlatch it. Alright, over to the rear. In terms of trunk space, we already know that Mustangs don't have that much to begin with, and with the convertible, it shrinks down to about 290 liters of cargo space. You also cannot fold down the rear seats, so you can't use it as a pass-through or anything like that. But I would argue that trunk space and cargo space is very low on the priority list for Mustang owners. Instead, what is important is the active exhaust. Let's hear it. As expected, it's pretty cramped back here. The seat back feels a little straighter compared to the fastback. The seats also feel narrower compared to the fastback because of the roof mechanism. But what's interesting is that because of the different roof shape, you actually get slightly more headroom compared to the fastback. Instead of having to slant my head, I can sort of sit straight. Up front, aside from the blue on the seats, blue on the steering wheel, blue on the door panel, and some blue stitching, plus the California Special badge, everything else is very similar to the EcoBoost Mustang Premium we tested a few weeks back. Heated and cooled seats, heated steering wheel, memory seats, B&O sound system, as well as illuminated door sills with interchangeable color that's tagged to the ambient lighting. It's all very similar. The screens are also the same, and the graphics still look really nice. The animations are really cool when you're changing the drive modes, and you get a ton of different customizations in terms of cluster themes. You can throw on some SVT Cobra clusters, you can throw on some Mustang, classic Mustang clusters, which is really cool. Wireless Android Auto and wireless Apple CarPlay is still supported, but I would say the pain point of this whole thing is the slow processor and the lack of physical controls. Sometimes the My Mustang page just takes forever to load, which is really annoying because if you want to change the valves on the exhaust, it takes forever. Now there's one more thing I'd like to point out before going on a drive, and that's quality control and build quality. With only about 10,000 kilometers on the clock for this specific tester, I'm already seeing some of the leathers loosening up, the racing stripe sticker on the side peeling a little bit, and most annoying of all, the rear side window not closing properly when I have the roof up. It just gets stuck. And every time I want to close the roof and close the windows, I have to give it a little manual assistance to have it closed properly. It's just very unfortunate, and even though this might be a one-off, at this price point, I'm a little bit disappointed. Anyway, let's put the roof down and go for a drive. To be fair, yes, this is the only brand new convertible V8 with a manual that you can buy on the market. And sure, it is a fully loaded model, but 85,000 Canadian dollars before taxes is just a little difficult to justify on a Mustang. For the same price, you can get a Mercedes CLE 450 Cabriolet, or for $5,000 more, you can get a BMW M440i convertible. Of course, neither of them gets you a V8 nor a manual, and for some people this can be a deal breaker, so let's talk about it. The best description would be a thunderous soundtrack matched with a linear power curve and a ton of torque. This naturally aspirated V8 feels great and sounds great. Peak torque arrives at 4,900 RPM and red lines at 72. It's a pretty rev-happy engine. There is some rev hang on the higher RPM, so keep that in mind, but for the most part, it doesn't really bother me that much. Pairing the active exhaust with the drop top, the acoustic experience is unmatched, and you just hear that much more of that V8, and it's fabulous. Oh man. As for the transmission, the 6-speed feels pretty nice. The throws are relatively short and the shifter is pretty notchy. Gearing, however, is quite tall, which means that I don't get to shift as much as I want to, and that's a little bit annoying. Now, I haven't tried the Tremec box on the Dark Horse, but on paper it does solve the tall gearing issues by only having one overdrive gear instead of two. If you happen to be a stick shift newbie, not to worry, because there's a bunch of built-in nannies. Hill start hold, auto rev match, and even anti-stall system where it will raise the RPM when you let off the clutch, so it's harder for you to stall the car. And in the event that you do stall the car, all you have to do is press in the clutch and the car will restart. The Performance Pack gives you a bunch of handling upgrades, including beefier tires as well as brakes, and these brakes do feel fantastic. But I think in a convertible, the emphasis on handling isn't as big, and for the most part, I look forward to relaxing cruises with the rumbling engine instead of spiritedly driving and attacking corners on a twisty road. The Magnorite dampers also work really well, but I can't adjust them individually. It's always tagged to the drive mode, and even in custom mode, it's always tagged to the base drive mode. So it's a little annoying because in track mode, it forces you to turn off the traction, and unless you want to drive this car without traction, you can only really use comfort or sport. Fuel economy in the city is, as expected, pretty bad. Anywhere between 15 to 20 liters per 100 kilometers based on my observation, depending on how you drive and how the traffic situation is. Highway, on the other hand, is pretty good. 8.5 liters per 100 kilometers I was able to get, which for a big V8 like this is fantastic. If you want to drive on the highway with the top down, it's also pretty pleasant because there's not a lot of wind noise, relatively speaking, and to the point where you can actually converse with your passenger. Compared to the fastback, because you're missing the roof, you do lose out on some chassis rigidity. You also don't get those pop-out roll bars that you do get on some other modern convertibles. Instead, you only get reinforced A-pillars. On the other hand, in terms of safety tech, it's fairly nicely equipped. You get emergency braking, evasive steering, lane keep assist, blind spot warning, things like that. You also get adaptive cruise control on this premium, but for the manual, for some reason you cannot get lane centering, which is a little weird because you would think, that it doesn't really affect lane centering. If anything, it's adaptive cruise control you shouldn't get. Now, it may seem like I'm being really critical about this car, but given the price tag, I think I should be. If this Mustang was 50, 60,000 Canadian dollars, I don't think I would have anything to complain about, but it's $85,000 before taxes, and at this price point, I just expected a little more. The Mustang GT is fundamentally a great car, but I'm just not sure that I see $85,000 worth of value in it. Anyway, what do you guys think about the Mustang GT Convertible with the California Special Package? Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, comment down below, and we'll see you in the next one. Okay. Okay.